Welcome to another episode of the Metal Roundup with Metal Burb, Drew Fortune, and myself, Steve OG. There's so much to talk about. It's been 3 or 4 weeks since our last one. There's all the teasing going on by Linkin Park. There's Oasis reuniting. There's something about Spotify fake AI tracks popping up of bands. So much to get into, and some great new music that's happened as well very recently. So to begin with, Burb, Drew, how are you? What have you spent the last 2, 3, 4 weeks doing in the music space? Burb?
Well, I'm curious to know what Drew's thinking right now.
Oh, Drew?
I'm fucking stressed, man. Just moved. I fucking moved out of the shed, baby. Well, I'm still here, obviously. Like you can see, I'm still in the fucking
green
kennel.
screen.
Moved out of the parents' house. So I've been in the process of moving. I know you asked about the music space, but we'll get to that, man. And so I moved out of my house into a new apartment, and then realized that there's no fiber internet in the apartment after we signed the contract. So I have to deal with 5G internet in the place. So I'm kind of like in this limbo phase of like trying to sort my life out. So for the time being, you're going to be seeing me in this fucking kennel in the back garden in my parents' house for the next couple of weeks at least. So disaster. So lesson to be learned is if you're moving into a new apartment and your sole income is online, make sure you have better than 5G in your fucking apartment. Anyway, that's what I've been up to. Music wise, I've been a little bit distracted, but yeah, man.
I'm sorry to hear it, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough. You gotta, I mean, not even just if that's your gig, but you gotta look up the coverage of internet providers before you move.
Oh, geez, thanks, Steve.
I don't mean to rub it in, but I did make a move this year too, and that was one of the priority things for me to
My first move, lads, all right? I'm a fucking 27-year-old man, baby, okay? Leave me alone. But yeah, so we're in that process. Like, I mean, it's 5 minutes from my actual house that I'm in right now. It's just because it's in a valley. Like, the place is actually just in some valley that just apparently is like fucking Chernobyl. Like, there's just no internet connection. I don't know if there's internet connection in Chernobyl. Maybe there's probably better internet in Chernobyl. Sorry, go ahead.
Wouldn't fiber go underground?
Yeah, so...
But it has to be on like a main line or some bullshit. But anyway, we're going very off topic here already. Sorry, I just had to...
I'm sorry for your woes.
Yes.
Metal Burb. So you're also in the process of moving. Well, you've moved recently, right?
Yeah, I moved like 4 months ago, but no, not much going on with me. Just I feel like this summer, I've mentioned in my videos and live streams that it's been probably the quietest summer that I've experienced in the 5 years of making content around metal and like rock music. So I've just been busy diversifying the content quite a bit. But September is looking pretty stacked, so we have some things to cover for sure. Like Throne, we want to talk about, but like Allt, Linkin Park is obviously big news. So yeah, we got lots of things to cover.
Yes. Well, let's start there with Allt, because we are coming in hot from having just checked out their YouTube premiere. Because literally, they dropped a new music video today at the same time we were supposed to start this recording. We're like, lads, let's wait. Let's check out Allt, and then let's have a chat. So I'm happy to begin. On my rating system, and I don't know how much this is because I was just so excited because it was live and it was fresh and new, but I don't think that's a factor. I gave it a masterpiece. I thought it was a fucking brilliant song, and especially because it's showing a different side to them. It's showing a bit of range. They're experimenting, especially on the vocal side of things, which I think is really interesting. And looking ahead at this album that's going to be coming out in October, you've got the chaos and the assault on the senses that is the Orphan Breed. But you also have the dark, slow, mystic, amazing stuff from Remnant and Aquila. And then there's this one, Echoes, which is gentle, spacious, melodic, but also has a satisfying, amazing breakdown within it. I just thought it was golden. Loved it to pieces.
Yeah,
How about you?
It's a cool track. I said the same thing in terms of just the diversity is what I look for in an album. So showing off their range is what I look for, and I love it. I thought it's probably my least favorite song because the slower sections, although I appreciate them diversifying their sound and showing off the vocal capabilities, that was probably my least favorite part of the music. I just appreciate the change, but it was until the breakdowns happened. I'm like, oh, that's the juicy part. So I like what they're doing, but yeah, I'm just so stoked for this album, man. I need an album that has variety. That's what I look for. If the album just sounds like all the songs start to sound the same, I'm like, I immediately lose interest. What about you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as you, Burb. I think I did actually talk about. I don't have like a rating system with Steve like Steve has, and I've kind of stopped giving albums or songs like number ratings because I feel like I've just had too many pigeonholed moments where people come into my chat like a year later and they're like, "You gave this song," and I'm like, "Bro, like I've changed my mind," and it just gets annoying. So I didn't like give it any like set in stone rating, but I think if I was to use the scale of Steve, what is it again? It's masterpiece, delicious. What's below delicious?
Solid. Solid is the middle.
I'm probably between a solid and a delicious. I don't think I'm quite at delicious, but I did mention in my video, I think the high after Aquila? I had this whole mental breakdown on my video as well about the name. I just don't know how to fucking say it. But I think the high off of that, I think no matter what they released, I was probably always going to be, I won't say disappointed because I still think it's a really solid track and it's still, like, it didn't dampen my excitement for the album at all. But I would definitely side more on the, just in terms of opinions, I guess, with Burb's opinion of just like, solid track, Allt really exciting. It's still, October is going to be great. I'm so excited. It's still my most anticipated album of the year. But this track just didn't really have like a moment like The Orphan Breed, which feels like the whole track is the moment. Aquila is like the falsetto in the chorus. There's obviously the riffs and stuff. Like it just felt like it had more to be tied onto. But with this track, it just felt like another solid Allt track. But look, I'm still fucking really excited for October, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. We all have different things that kind of get us excited, but we can all agree that they're a very exciting, relatively new. I mean, they've been going for like 4 years or so, but relatively new band doing great things in the scene. With their first album coming out in October, it's like they're going bananas.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about another band that dropped their first album too, and I think we all checked it out at this point. So great segue. But Throne dropped an album which should like is pretty much an EP because it's 21 minutes long. I find the success to this band is mind blowing. How they have millions of streams and plays on YouTube and Spotify. It's crazy. Like for a new band too. After checking out the album, I'm very curious to know what you guys thought. But it's I had a hot take that it's probably one of the most what's the word I'm looking for? Probably one of my least favorite records of the year.
Wow. Do you think it's overhyped because of the attention somehow?
Oh, like it's definitely overhyped in terms of like other bands in the same kind of vein who are like, you know, getting not even close to the same amount of views. So it's overhyped in that regard. But if people like love that sound of just like a gym album that just like, you know, all killer, no filler kind of thing, then it's a great record. I just find that there's other bands in the scene that I'm like that are a little bit like new metalcore or hardcore adjacent that I like a lot more because what I was mentioning earlier, I like an album with diversity. When there's variety in the album, every song started to sound the same on that. So I just felt like it was just a lot of recycled ideas. But like, hey, it's a good gym album. But for me, I enjoyed the songs on their own. But like as an album, I'm like, I won't go back to this. But that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that way a little bit about the Alpha Wolf album. I was like, that is a full on, because that's a longer album. You're sitting in that kind of sound for a long time. They've got a couple moments of diversity within their songs with some, you know, stand up actual singing vocals and the rest. And Throne is a much more consistent soundscape throughout. But maybe because it was only 20 minutes and there were shorter songs, I found the palate cleanse of going in between songs allowed me to reset my brain and appreciate the subtle differences in the next song. Because you're like, for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, it's easier to do that somehow. So I actually really enjoyed it, maybe in part as well because I'm relatively new to enjoying hardcore as a thing. So I have what others might consider to be kind of, well, that's a normal name, you know, token idea within hardcore. I find to be quite interesting and novel still. So I found it to be pretty fun. I really enjoyed it, and the kind of hip hop sort of electronic moments that teased in here and there, and some genius little guitar moments that the first opening song, I think, is kind of an iconic.
Oh, that song's sweet. Yeah. Glitch.
Yeah.
I
have to imagine there's a lot of TikTok type things to thank for the massive amount of listens they've ended up getting. I don't know what the history of and how they've got so many, but if you have a song bang on TikTok somehow, then that will bleed into the other singles.
Yeah, so don't quote me on it, but I have heard from someone in my community, so this could be totally inaccurate. I can't find the information, but apparently to this person, they sold like some of the royalty money that they would make in terms of putting their music in more Spotify playlists. and that's a reason for Throne's popularity on streams. So that's something I've heard. But
it's an interesting idea. I don't know how that would actually play out. How could you get those future like residuals to someone to? That was probably quite a complicated thing to actually do. But who knows?
if that's the case, it worked in their favor. And yeah, and then like also you were kind of talking about hardcore, but it feels like almost like a new metalcore record because like, yeah, the hip hop influence, some of the guitar moments feels like a little bit more new metal. So it's a cool record because it does feel a little bit hardcore at times, but it's also like new metalcore. But Drew, what about you, man?
Yeah, I checked it out. To be honest, I don't think I would have gone out of my way to check it out if it wasn't for the fact that I knew we were going to be talking about it today. So I just literally checked it out this morning. So it's still fresh in my mind, but I would still go into I would still say On the Verge is probably the most memorable track. I'm trying to remember exactly what my thoughts were, but obviously you've touched on the like length of the album. I feel like it's not long enough to be like to follow. I like to kind of follow a storyline in albums. For the most part, there's obviously exceptions, but for the most part, I feel like 20 minutes is a little bit quick. And then the songs themselves, I don't think are long enough to be memorable either. So it kind of feels like the album storyline and theme of the album doesn't really glue together very well, but also single by single, they're also quick. I think the most memorable track because of the like doon 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 doon, the melody is On the Verge. That's like the one track to me that sticks out. But I think my main point was that I think having Buster producing and a lot of the things outside of the actual just metal and the instrumentals is what kind of makes the album a little bit more tolerable to me, because other than that it's just kind of like chugging hardcore music, which I've never really fucked with. I think a lot of the like trap, like hip hop elements throughout kind of have like cool moments here and there, and they kind of break up the monotony of just like a dun dun dun, like a lot of just chugging, which is just what it is. But I mean, there's an audience there for it clearly. I think live it would be sick, like Burb said, the gym playlist and stuff. But to me, it just feels and looks like an album full of like banger singles that I guess are put together in a way that they flow, but it doesn't really feel like they're actually supposed to be a part of any storyline or anything. So to me, it just kind of loses that, you know, replay value or that like longevity. I think it's like, yeah, I'll listen to that once, maybe pull out like a single here or there, like On the Verge, but the rest of it doesn't feel that memorable. But I think Buster, just having him is just a general cheat code, to be honest, because a lot of his stuff is really, really cool. But
exactly. Yeah. Is there anything that you've been like really loving, Drew? Because like I know we both made videos on like reaction videos, kind of like, you know, making less content and trying to diversify the things that we do. So has there anything been that like that you've been loving, or just like you feel like it's been a little bit of a lull music wise?
Yeah, no, I agree with what you said earlier about like it being a bit of a lull in the scene. I don't remember it being like this where it almost feels like someone cast a spell across the whole scene where everyone just started to feel relatively the same at the same time. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people like talk about it. I was kind of like feeling it a bit where I was like, look, there's just not really a lot of things that are exciting me that much. I know it's been a little bit slow compared to last year. Some people will disagree with that, but I guess just in terms of my taste, I haven't really been that excited. Anything that's been exciting me, I kind of stepped away from just like trying to cover all of the new releases that were coming out. Like, I mean, I was doing a Friday stream every single week where it was like, regardless of whether or not I've actually heard of a band or whether or not I like a particular band, it was just like people who maybe like those bands were like, this band dropped a new song, this band. And it was kind of like even starting to be genres that I actually don't care about. And I was getting those suggested to me. And I was listening to so much music that was new. And I was jumping on like the hype of the new song, but I just didn't really care for it. And I think that kind of fatigues me like very quickly. So I've actually like eliminated my Friday stream for music completely. And I've just kind of like taken myself away from like having my finger on the pulse with metal. And I've started to like feel it already where I'm enjoying it a lot more. Like even my request stream, and like when I do a stream every week with you know, taking requests from people in the audience that want to like get me to check something out, I've already felt the kind of shift of just starting to enjoy it a bit more because I'm not like so deeply involved in every little, you know, new upcoming band. So but yeah, I definitely feel it, man. Dark Signal, Ashtone's band, I did a video for those guys couple days ago. Really fucked with that. That was just a track that Ashtone actually requested on one of my streams. He is obviously the Darko producer, and you know, he's in his own project. But I thought that was really, really sick. Just real kind of like pop metal music, metalcore. Really fun. We haven't talked about the Falling in Reverse album. We could probably talk to that at some point. And that will be a fun little talking point. Yeah, I've kind of just been behind. I haven't really, like I said, I haven't been keeping my finger on the pulse at all. So I don't really have anything like recently. I've been going back on like some of my old favorites and stuff, but that's about it, you know.
But that sounds like you've done the right thing. This is like a good move, and you're seeing the benefit of that by actually enjoying a little bit more of it from when you're coming back to some of the artists you kind of dig. I think if you spend a lot of time, as we do, in a certain kind of genre, for example, if it's largely metalcore stuff, I think metalcore is really suffering from a lot of bands who perhaps have enjoyed and learned what people have done in the last year or two and gone, that's amazing, we should do that too. And they're all kind of converging now and releasing their versions of those songs from like a year or two ago in terms of trends. It's like, that's no longer innovative because that has already gone past. I think we're feeling a little bit of that maybe is the lull after the wave that was 2023, which was phenomenal and new for a lot of those kind of things, being high production value and really landing. Now, I think that's why maybe there's a bunch of people feeling a similar sort of fatigue in that area. But if you're lucky enough to cover other styles of music at the time, the best and innovative and interesting bands out there in the metalcore universe will still peek through and be interesting this year and this time. But maybe the majority isn't as much. And in the other skirty bits and pieces of prog metal or whatever else it is you're into, there might be some gold in those hills potentially.
Yeah, and metalcore in general has always had that problem. It's always bands that are just recycling a lot of the same ideas. So it's always the outliers that people pay attention to most of the time. But I feel like in terms of the core scene, I find deathcore is probably doing a lot more enjoyable this year than metalcore for me. Because I know you guys aren't like the biggest fans of some of the genre in general, but like Shalvin 10 dropped a new song which was awesome, and then Disembodied Tyrant also has like one of my favorite EPs of the year. Apparently there's Whitechapel, this is a rumor, Whitechapel's releasing some new music, and Whitechapel's one of the biggest bands. So I just feel Darko, Fit for Autopsy, like I just feel like deathcore has been a lot more interesting than metalcore. I am trying to think of like metalcore bands like they're Knock Loose and Boundaries, but you can argue Knock Loose is kind of hardcore adjacent too. So I don't know. I feel like it's more of a deathcore year, where last year was like insane. We had Sleep Token, Silent Planet, Polaris, Invent Animate, or was it Invent Animate too?
Yeah,
Johnny Booth, Aviations. Like it was insane the amount of music that we had last year. So now in 2024, it's just like, Now we just kind of wait.
There's still some gold. I've not felt the same level of fatigue as others have. I've had things I've enjoyed every single week, so I'm fortunate in that position. But my taste in music might be just a little bit simpler than yourselves, perhaps.
What have you enjoyed?
Well, I mean, for example, Oralize, so that's in the metalcore world. I thought their album was phenomenal. I listened to it the very first time to The Browning, finally, after having chatted to Keem on our previous episode, and I dug that. I was surprised because it does have a bit of deathcore, adjacent moments in there. But I thought it was great. The electronics in there were very cool. The Plot and You have been releasing some excellent songs, I would say, and I'm excited because I'm seeing them live in London tomorrow, along with Invent Animate. So that should be a good gig. There's also been a lot of like new bands that have come out of kind of nowhere that I've really, really enjoyed. There's a band called Parallax from France. They've had like maybe 5 songs out. They're brand new, and it's a simpler sort of it's just a groove they lock into and really deliver that I've enjoyed a whole bunch. Resolve had a new song this week, which I dug. What else? Fit for a King had a good song. Not wild, I'm not a big Fit for a King guy, but I thought that was pretty cool. Music video was really weird, but song was good. Yeah, I'm kind of enjoying the surprise newer bands that maybe have a little bit of experimentation going on within them.
Well, an album that has some experimentation, and Drew just mentioned it, but Fall in Reverse. How did you guys feel about that album?
Drew?
As an album, it's so hard to know when the single started like 17 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like,
I know, right?
It's hard to know. That was like the one thing I kind of had this hard back and forth with myself, because I was like, if I hadn't heard any of these singles and this was my first time sitting down to this album, I think I'd be mind blown. But because I've heard, I think, all of the best songs, which was obviously quite intentional from Ronnie to like make sure that all the singles were like huge moments in time, every single one. So I think it was very intentional to make sure that they got like their own moment in time. And then I feel like some of the songs, don't get me wrong, I really like some of the the tracks off of it that were not on the album. The ones that stood out to me was I like Bad Guy. It's really simple and it's a bit like cheesy, but
That was my least favorite because it was
That
so
song
simple.
was-
it's so like it's so silly and
It's
just
grown
like,
on me a bit.
That's
The
always a
lyrics
big
are-
oof to me. I'm like, oh,
yeah, the lyrics are like
yeah.
look, the lyrics are really just like but I don't know, man. It's just the melody in it. I don't know what it is. I kind of just have a soft spot for Ronnie.
I'm
you
a
know? I
bad
just,
guy. She's a bad
Yeah.
guy, or whatever.
normally I hate this kind of shit. Like I had a problem with, I think it was Memphis May Fire's Challenger album or something where I literally wanted to fucking put my head through the monitor. It was something. Is it that album where he's like talking about how? Oh, it's the worst. I want to make sure this is the right album. Burb, do you know Memphis May Fire is it Challenger?
That is an album by them, but I don't know
But
what
is it
you're
like
referencing.
really like are the lyrics in it like really like the front man thinks he's like the second coming of Jesus Christ, or am I thinking?
Oh,
of a complete-
Matty Mullins has been notorious for doing that kind of stuff.
I listened to that like yeah, and I just spent the whole thing like cringe. Like anyway, back to Ronnie. But yeah, like normally I do kind of hate that kind of like the bet like just everyone like relax like but that song, but like the standouts on it for me were all of the singles. So it's kind of hard to rate as an album. You know, I think it's a really good album, but it is clearly like we've capitalized on all of the singles dropping. Single droppings.
On the single shit.
But now let's kind of like wrap this up, and I don't want to say cash in one last time, but it's like we already have all these amazing popular singles. Let's just throw them all into an album, I guess. You know, that's the way it feels for me. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Steve?
I loved it.
Yeah?
Obviously, we knew. I didn't know Popular Monster. It's the only single I hadn't heard beforehand. But I'd heard a bunch of the singles, so I had an idea of the kind of spectrum he was going for. I think that's probably why he ended up having it be an album, because kind of, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll do the same thing in the future, but sort of ties together this entire epoch of his life of being this big, monstrous, like a polarizing individual. I don't think that's going to change. But in his sort of musical expression to go along with it, I could see how these things tie together a little bit. Although All My Life stands out a little bit among the rest of the songs, but probably my favorite song on the album.
Mhm.
I think it's a phenomenal high production banger of a rock and rap album. And I think those are actually kind of rare to be done at this high quality from start to finish. And I think that's what makes it really special. And I feel pretty giddy with excitement that thing exists and someone's actually put in the brashness and the funds and the dedication in the details to create an album like that. And I thoroughly enjoyed the roller coaster ride that it was from start to finish myself.
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed what like the high production value in a rock rap album is almost like it's so hard to find these days. And I think there's a big reason why it's blowing up. Like he clearly knows how to write a good hook. All My Life is so incredibly catchy, man. This album is fun. It's some of the most fun I've had all year with an album. And it's like, because like, you know, listening to so much core music, I'm so familiar with the patterns and the ideas, and Fall in Reverse is fun. And like, although I know the music is very cheesy at times, I find Bad Guy to be one of the cheesiest songs I've heard all year, but it's kind of fun. I can give it the benefit of the doubt. That's kind of fun. Like I had that suspension of disbelief when listening to the record that it's like, and some of the music videos, like people take Ronnie so seriously. And like, to me, like I don't take him seriously all the time. I think All My Life is a great music video to show off that side. So I find like, yeah, a lot of the songs really fun. The lyrics, I think, are a polarizing part to the people who hate Ronnie Radke because it's all cancel culture and just like him being a polarizing figure. And you know what? I think those topics are definitely, they're pretty common, but I think the topic is not really the problem. It's more, I think how he handles it is a little bit surface level. That was one of the criticisms that I have, is that, everyone else is like sheep and he's like, he's made out to look like the bad guy and stuff. I'm just like, okay, I get it. But like, what's another way that you can tackle this subject? Everything just felt like, very surface level. And I think the lyrics were very corny, but like from production value and vocal hooks and some of the riffs or ideas, it was just a fun record. So it's not like going to win, and it's not probably going to be even my top 10 albums of the year, to be honest, but I had fun with it.
Yeah, I don't think you're going into this record thinking, well, I might really connect on an individual level.
Yeah, right?
And empathize with this individual. Like, I probably will not relate to the protagonist in these songs. But
Exactly.
that's not really what it's for me in this instance.
Yeah, it's like listening to hip hop music when they're bragging about how much money they're making and stuff. I'm like, oh, I can't relate.
Yeah. Yeah, I can fantasize about having money, but I am poor.
Yeah. What else has been going on in the scene, man? I made a video basically talking about like how lull or slow the summer was, where like there was so many announcements happening, but they were all like fake announcements with metalcore Spotify being hacked. I'm like, oh no, all these bands dropping new music, but they were all hacked. Loathe made an announcement saying like, oh, like their website was updated to like today's date, and like, oh, everyone's like freaking out on Twitter, but that ended up Lowe's website got hacked. And then Linkin Park doing the countdown too, just and then the countdown just went back up. Like,
my
what
favorite
the fuck
part
is going
of
on
that,
this week?
My favorite part of the whole Linkin Park thing was that they had a countdown to this big announcement. At the same time, separately, Derek Whibley of Sum 41 was saying he's going to have this announcement on a particular date. And everyone's like, is Derek going to be the new singer for Linkin Park? I'm like, no, there's no way. Like, sure, maybe he's got a slightly nasally voice, not unlike Chester, but he's not doing the scream vocals. There's no fucking shot at that. And he had to come out and go, it's come to my attention. Some people think I'm announcing I'm in Linkin Park. I'm going to move my announcement because I'm not part of that.
Yeah, I know the video was getting circulated of him doing Faint with them.
Oh, really?
I'm like, yeah, he can do like hit a lot of the same melodies, but when it comes to the screams, he can't do it. I'm like,
not a chance.
I can't picture Derek. Please don't let it be Derek.
Lincoln could have anyone be their singer. They're not ringing Derek Whibley. I don't think that's the thing.
Yeah, it was really weird timing, for that to happen and for him to announce it like the same time as Linkin Park. But yeah. Who do you guys?
Sorry, I was going to say, can someone give me like a very brief overview of the landscape of what's happening with Linkin Park at the moment? I've kind of kept up with it, but I guess I'm going to play the perspective of someone who might be listening to the podcast that doesn't actually know what the latest news is on Linkin Park, because I kind of don't really, but I guess if one of you guys is clued in on what's happening.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, I made a video about it too, because like I'm getting hyped for Linkin Park to drop this announcement. So I don't know where they dropped a countdown on their socials and website. Basically, it was 100 hours, and then after the 100 hours, once it landed on 0, it glitched, and then it started to go back up. So then everyone's like, "What the hell? Like, we waited 100 hours for nothing." But I think they're doing something cryptic. Linkin Park tends to do a little bit cryptic things with their messaging. So the message was like, if you look into the glitch or something, it like stops like 9:15 or something. So, or September 5th, I mean. So I think an hour from this podcast is when we're getting something. Now I hope that it's a new song with a new vocalist and it's major news. But maybe it could be an announcement for an NFT or something. So
yeah.
Here's the other thing though, because they did something similar in a way, in that the previous singles, they turned all their social media green, and we're like, why is it all green? And then that was the kind of color theme of that song's video or something like that. So it's a sort of tease to something generally. The problem is, like, we're getting super hyped about this because the world's talking about it. It's like, oh, what could this could be massive. But I have yet to have a new Linkin Park song that's completely blown me away. So it might be like, oh, the new song, it's okay. Unless it is, right, we've got a new singer that's going to be with us and it's a whole new direction, that could be quite exciting. But if it's another video, we found some more archive audio of Chester, we've made a new song, I'm like, okay, well, is it another B-side sort of song, or is it going to be something amazing?
Yeah. I'm not the hugest Linkin Park fan either. Like, I never listened to Hybrid Theory or Meteora when they came out, only like years later. And so like, but the thing is, like, if it's a new vocalist and it's been years, so long since they've dropped something actually new and not just like, older song that they had, I think it's just like, it's such big news that it's exciting. Mm. Now, I agree that a lot of the stuff that I heard from One More Light or that record was like so mediocre, the stuff that I've heard on the radio. But I'm still excited. Like, if they get a new vocalist and they go back to their new metal roots and have like maybe a couple screams, that would be amazing. That would be insane. And I feel like with the trajectory of like modern metal and rock right now, things are a little bit heavier than they were 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
I really, really hope that's the case, but knock on wood.
A
Do you think it's gonna
hybrid
work?
theory.
Oh, sorry,
Well,
Steve, go.
I was just gonna say the hybrid theory is one of my most played albums I think ever. When Linkin Park came on the scene, I was a teenager. I just looped that forever. And Meteora as well was a massive album for me as well. So I'm a huge fan. The later stuff less so. Is a little bit more. They grew up. As of I, I'm less jaunty and chaotic now, and that's fine. That's part of aging. But yeah, I'm a big fan of them. So I hope for good things. I'll have an open mind for whatever it is that come out with, but we'll see. Drew?
Yeah, I've only fucking listened to 2 full albums, I think, from Linkin Park, which is crazy to even say out loud, but I guess I kind of got into metal through YouTube, and I've edged myself. I know we had a brief conversation about edging earlier, but we won't go into that. But I've been like
That's for
edging
the
myself
OnlyFans.
with Linkin Park for so long. I've just never really found a moment to go through their discography, because once I started the like metal reaction channel, it's like, as you guys are well aware, you don't really have the same relationship with music as you once had before, especially in metal music, because you kind of, if you're interested in something, you wait until you're sitting down at a table with a camera filming you before you listen to it. So I've just never really had a moment to get around to like actually sitting down and listening to Linkin Park. I did check out Meteora recently, and then before that, I love the fucking the was it Collision Course, the one they did with the crossover between Jay-Z.
Oh yeah,
Is that called
I don't know
Collision
the
Course?
name. I
That
don't
one.
know the name of it. But
Yeah, that one, whatever that's called. But that one was sick. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not like a long time Linkin Park. Well, I guess that's probably one of the first metal bands I'd ever been introduced to. But I don't know. Like, if they are gonna drop a new song with a new vocalist, I just can't see anything but disappointment. Like, I get like it would be cool and it will break the internet to see a new vocalist in Linkin Park, but it's just never going to be Linkin Park again. It's gonna be a band with the name Linkin Park, but it's just Chester is like such a big part of that band that, look, I get why it's a big deal. Of course, it's a humongous deal, but I don't see anything but like pure disappointment from all of the Linkin Park fans, because they like Linkin Park for Chester. Like, obviously, there's other elements to it. There's Mike Shinoda and the rest of the band, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like, if it is, because I know it's an hour away and we'll know in an hour.
Problem is, this episode is going to go out like days after it. Probably, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "These idiots! They have no
Yeah.
idea
I know, right?
what it was going to
But
be."
like, let's this is kind of fun though, because it's like a little time capsule, because then the next episode we can talk about it.
Yep.
But like, what's your opinions on that? Like, surely Linkin Park isn't the same without Chester. Regardless if they get the best vocalist in another huge band, how does it work?
I feel like I'm so in the middle about it, because the band needs to evolve, and for them to rebrand themselves as something completely different, they could, but it'd be a lot easier. And if fans will still want to hear the old songs live, but disappointment is inevitable. So many people are going to be disappointed by the new sound. They're going to maybe try to bring in new fans. So to me, I guess maybe since I'm not as invested as others, like I loved old Linkin Park, like In the End and stuff. I used to listen, and Faint. I just never bought the records. I don't know
Faint's
why.
so good.
Faint is one of I love that song when I was a kid.
good.
I just never bought their albums for some reason. Maybe because I didn't have the money or something. But no, if they do get a new vocalist, I think it's just a proper evolution. They need to do something again. So I'm torn in the middle. It depends on the direction, right? If the direction is that I'm going extra poppy, I'm just like, oh. But if it's like actually bring back the metal with a new vocalist, and the vocalist like crushes Chester's parts live, and it's like, okay, cool. It's obviously not Chester, but the band is doing well, and so I think it's how the new singer is, if they do get one.
I'm less stoked if it is potentially like about creating new songs and new sound and the rest. I'd love for it to be more like what Queen did, because they've obviously not had Freddie Mercury forever, but they had I'm going to forget the name right now. I can't remember his name, but Adam Lambert, who was an American Idol singer, they had him join the band essentially so they could play live, so that people could experience Queen live with the original members of the band, and with someone who can, it's not the exact same voice, of course, but has amazing pipes. So you get that irreplaceable feeling of a live, massive sound venue of the majority of the band playing those hit songs you want to hear, with someone delivering it. And everyone's kind of singing along anyway. So I'm hoping it's kind of best case they find a singer who can fill in technically for what Chester can do, so that they can tour it as a decent show, and then people can go and experience as close to as is ever going to be possible again Linkin Park live to the max volume, which is a great and wonderful thing. I'm less interested. No one wants Queen to write new songs, and I'm thinking maybe it's Linkin Park. I mean, they will inevitably, I'm sure, do that because Mike Shinoda is a great songwriter, and he can't stop doing that. That's built within him. So I don't know about that, but I'm hoping it's just we're going to world tour, and they'll make a shit ton of money off it if they do that.
Journey did the same thing too, right? I think Journey.
Yeah. Steve Perry didn't have any more, and I've seen them live, but not with the original singer. I didn't feel like, I'm not really seeing Journey though. It's like, this is fucking great. It's Journey. They're playing "Don't Stop Believing." This is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so torn in the middle. Like, I think that's a perfectly valid point, Steve, and that's a good reason for them to continue. But at the same time, I guess the curiosity of hearing a new song or something, and if they could bring back that old energy that they had in the early 2000s, that'd be so cool. That'd be so cool.
What if their next song is like "Fall"?
That'd be amazing.
That'd be
insane.
We're announcing our new single produced by Buster. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not waiting. Are you gonna wait up for it like tonight, Steve? Are you?
I mean, I don't want to because I'm tired and it's at 11 p.m. our time. But now I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. What happens? I want to see. You have to record your reaction for like the premiere as well. I want to see your face melt when it's just some shitty NFT. Just like you wait up at 11 o'clock, like bags under your eyes, just like.
I'll just start throwing my guitars off the wall.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. The other big music news in the world was Oasis reforming. Did either of you guys give a shit that they're reuniting? Anyone? People care about that in Canada?
Oh yeah, the Oasis is on the radio a lot here actually. I like Oasis. I think all the songs that I've heard have been bangers. Like, come on, Wonderwall's a classic, even if it's so hard. It's cool, but how many times have the brothers fought? Like, they're always fighting, and then they just get back together, and then they fight. Yeah, and then they get back together. Like, I feel bad for the mom. I don't know. Like,
I think she's doing all right, to be honest. I think she's chilling somewhere.
Yeah, probably. You're right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they drop something, I would like to cover it, and I think that my audience would be cool with that. I think I've dabbled into other facets other than core music that they'd be cool with it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hyped. How about you guys?
I don't think they're going to be dropping new music. I think it's literally my speculation. My speculation on this is that they've seen Taylor Swift earn $1 billion from touring because she's one of the biggest acts in the world, and they've gone. Someone's told them, if you actually got your shit together and put your differences aside and reunited Oasis and toured, you'd each make $50 million. And they'd be like, all right, I can do that. And I think that's why this is happening. They're not playing Glastonbury next year. They're not doing about the only way you can see Oasis live is part of this tour in 2025. Go and get tickets for that. And like, that's all it is. But I'm not really an Oasis fan. I don't really gel with their vibe, but I can't deny they're incredible songwriters. And they have some amazing songs, but I also don't really want to go to a concert with a bunch of Oasis fans who might be just too drunk to actually take in the concert, and it might not be the most chill vibe.
Is that what they're notorious for, being drunks?
Well, Oasis songs are kind of synonymous now with sort of like, it's like van driver, construction worker dudes who that's their way of expressing emotions, is they connect with Oasis and their stories and their like working class origins, and so it is that sort of a scene, I'd say.
Interesting. Yeah. That's like Nickelback over here in Canada.
Yeah. There's also like, I think from what I've heard from most people that have been to both like individual Noel and Liam concerts, like respectively, the difference in crowd is insane. Apparently, I don't know if have you been to any of the Liam concerts are absolutely fucking mental. Like, there's just fights breaking out everywhere, and then apparently the Noel concerts are like completely different, very tranquil compared. I've never been to either of them, but that's what I've seen from like multiple people. Like, my close friends are fucking huge Oasis fans. I actually got a ticket to the, well, My girlfriend got a ticket. One ticket.
Oh.
So I don't know what the story is with that. Like, it's a year away. We have to try and get another one. But there's obviously going to be that moment as we get closer when we both realize that
Who's going?
we've only got one ticket here. Who's going? Because we can't miss the opportunity. But at the same time, I'll be very surprised if they make it to the Dublin show, because the Dublin shows are the last ones on the tour. And if they hate each other that much, are they going to be like, is the whole thing going to collapse? But I don't know if you've seen like the whole like controversy, whatever. There's always a controversy behind everything this big, but just something I've seen where the tickets, what are they called? The people who sell the tickets, what are they called? The tickets. Yes. No, not the ticket touts. The,
or you
like,
want
the actual
scalpers or
merchants?
The like Ticketmasters, all these people, the merchants, whatever. Yeah, they, due to high demand, because there was like, one of my friends was like I think Crow Park, which would be the venue that they're playing in Dublin. They're doing like 3 or 4 nights, maybe 2 or 3. That venue holds, I think, 80 to 100,000 people. And there was like, he was like 600,000 in the queue. So like, there was obviously a ridiculous, bearing in mind there's how many people in Ireland, fucking 6 million people. There was like a very high percentage of the population waiting for tickets to go see Oasis. But there was like this whole controversy with I think it was Ticketmaster or something. I don't want to get sued.
Ticketmaster,
allegedly.
yes.
They, due to high demand, bumped all the tickets up while people were in the queue. So they went from like €100 to like €350, like, because high demand. So people were like in the queue, ready to go, and then the tickets went back up at like outrageous prices. And like, that was the message. It was like, due to high demand, our tickets are now €350. So Oasis caught loads of heat about it, and then I think they came out with a statement and basically said, we had nothing to do with this. We didn't know the prices were going to be hiked, but you know, essentially that's what it is. We're not going to try and retract it. It's just, I know no matter what, there's always going to be controversies. People will find something, but I just thought that was a talking point as well. Just the tickets were like €100, €350, you know?
Yeah, before I get done for like slander or something, like when I said like they did know that, they did come out and say that their management deals with all of the logistics of ticket pricing, etc., etc. Makes total sense. But they had reassurances from meetings that they were in that there would be some form of dynamic pricing at play, but it would be done to be as value for money as possible for anyone that wanted to come. So I would potentially believe that they maybe were kept in the dark about how extreme it could be. But dynamic pricing is something that Ticketmaster have been doing for ages, and it is so annoying and evil, I honestly think. I experience this every year with Download Festival, because after Download, we go straight in to buy tickets for the next year, and they'll release a small number of tickets and at a certain price, and they will go instantly when you're in the queue and there's nothing, you refresh and there's nothing. And then they go, right, hike it up. Another small number. And if you are just unlucky enough not to have got in the right refresh window out of dumb luck early on, you might be an hour and a half later when you finally get a chance at one, and now it's another £100 or £150 more than before. And that's just the roll of the dice, because I'm doing this with friends and we're refreshing constantly. Yeah. And some happen to get a ticket and some don't. So like next year, our plan is we're all going to do that, and then we're going to, amongst ourselves, spread the cost of the dynamic pricing, so we each pay an even amount and send money to each other. Because fuck, like, if you happen to get the first one and your mate ends up paying another $100 for the same experience because Ticketmaster are like, oh, it's raining hard? Right, umbrellas are now £50. Like, come on. Yeah. You know, what are we doing?
Yeah, I didn't know that was a regular thing. I don't go to too many high-profile events because there's fuck all in Ireland that actually happens. So, but yeah,
move to London. You can enjoy these things with me.
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, that's the next one. Actually, I guess which show is it again that I was talking about coming over for the Imminence, Allt, and
Aviana.
Aviana, yes. I might have to make my way over to the UK.
Do it.
Yes.
Who's the headliner for that one?
Imminence.
Yeah, nice.
Altar opening.
Yeah.
Nice.
In terms of my interest, the lineup is flipped.
Yeah. I think that's like to bring it all back. I mean, Allt is like probably one of the only bands that I'll go into. I know obviously it kind of coincided with the podcast and that's why we were all in the premiere and stuff tonight, but like I could probably see myself sitting down to wait for a premiere and record my reaction to the premiere for Allt. There's probably like 1 or 2 other bands that I would maybe do that for, like right now. So I'd make the trip over to the UK for all, mainly for Alt, even though they're opening. Imminence,
Yeah.
I really enjoy. I really like it. I've had connections with the band back and forth before. So, seem like cool guys. I know Burb, you've met some of the guys from Imminence before, but yeah, I mean that show I think I'm excited for. And Alt is just probably one of the only. I think Unprocessed as well will be one of those guys as well. We didn't actually speak about their latest track as well. I fucking love that song.
That was so good.
Akila, whatever it's called. Those two songs I've rinsed those songs so much. The Sacrifice Me track by Unprocessed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an excellent song. Yeah, they're touring late this year as well. I don't know if they're doing Ireland, but have a look because they're touring with Oralize. I think it's been an excellent gig.
Nice. Will they come back to Ireland? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, Unprocessed has been awesome. I'm patiently waiting for actually Darko. I don't know if I'm patiently waiting for this. I should rephrase that. But Darko is releasing something new again. There's teasing. Baby J posted, more Darko.
Didn't they just
music.
have an album?
Yeah. An EP in December 31st last year. It's
Right.
it's insane. Like I'm like, this is like too much music. Where just like, they haven't even like toured yet.
Bill
like
Murray's teasing a new song. Like Bill
Yeah.
Murray's going to drop another single. His album came out fucking 3 weeks ago. Like it's relentless.
Yeah, but
I'm not mad. I'm excited.
It probably works now with like TikTok brain and ADD brain, where people just need more and more new things to keep like you interested in certain bands. They're probably not doing that because of it, but it probably helps though, right?
He's on a treadmill of creating music. That's what he loves to do.
Oh yeah, he's had so many records these past few years.
Yeah, my one gripe with the Darko album as well was that it was too long. It was like too ambitious. So like more music again. I'm like, lads, let me dissect this first before you hit me again. You know, might lose a bit of impact on the second run because I know Darko were always very like consistent. I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing though. I don't know. Maybe for their overall numbers, maybe like regardless, they'll probably see some benefits from like continuously putting out music because there'll always be like an audience there. They've already got an established name, but just for me personally, I don't know if doing that so quickly excites me that much. I'm like, I've barely got a chance to kind of dissect the last album. It was so chaotic and I loved it. But another one, it's like, I'll listen.
Yeah.
Have they changed their sound that much, or have they like added so much more from the last record that it's gonna be something that's worth giving all of my time to again, as opposed to the last one that I'm still trying to dissect and go through again, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the Make Them Suffer album that will eventually be coming out. I think that band doesn't miss. I just absolutely love everything that they've done really in the last couple of years. The further back in time I go with them, the more deathcore it gets, and the less I'm as keen on it. But they're great, more radio ready package of songwriting with the heaviness really suits my taste.
Oh, they're so good. They perfected the metalcore formula. But speaking of the formula, that's actually a criticism that a lot of people have with the new song Oscillator, is that it's starting to sound a little bit samey, which I totally can understand and I even agree with it. But I guess I'm just not sick of the formula because the songs still kick ass. Now, I will say Oscillator is like I mentioned in my review, it's my least favorite of the singles. I think Doomsday or I forget what's on the record actually, but
Doom
Doomsday.
Switch.
Or Doom Switch, yeah. So many Dooms in metalcore, but yeah, Doom Switch.
Epitaph
is good, yeah. They write good songs, and their last album had a decent amount of variety too. So going into this album, I can only assume that the non-singles are probably going to be more riffy, or maybe even the slower track or something. So they're good for that.
We'll see. I can't believe I'm saying this. People are gonna be like, again with this band. I can't wait for Sleep Token to drop some new fucking music, lads. That can't happen soon enough. Like they're gonna have no new music this year, surely. Like, and then maybe next year is gonna be, because they've signed to RCA Records. They need to release music.
Yeah,
like they have to. But hopefully they're gonna give Sleep Token and really Vessel and Two a long enough runway to create whatever the fuck art they want to make, and that would be the best form and not be like rushing them. But yeah, that's the thing I'm most excited for in the future, I think.
Yeah, I haven't listened to an album like in a while since Take Me Back to Eden. that record was actually like an album that I just kept on replaying and going back and forth. And like all the records this year, I'm like, oh yeah, this I can listen to this again at the gym. Like Boundaries is an awesome record for that, but like nothing has really fully gripped me like Taking Me Back to Eden. And for the people that hate Sleep Token, like I don't know, it sucks. It sucks for you because that record to me is just so much that I love in music with I love a slow burn approach. I love music that's equally soft to equally heavy and contrast the two really well. But the vocals and the also the progressiveness of the record, I love the variety. It's just one of those albums that just I gave it a 10 out of 10, which I barely ever do. The last time I did that, well, I didn't officially do it, but Loathe, I let it in and took everything. I would give that a 10 out of 10. Or no, I did give it a 10 out of 10. No, yeah.
There was a moment when there's a something called the Heavy Music Awards. It's a UK-based rock music awards ceremony, and they gave the Album of the Year award, I believe it was from the past year, to Take Me Back to Eden. And onto the stage to collect the award, and we're all just like, oh, was a person not wearing a mask. It's like, who is this? Surely it's not Vessel. It was the producer and mixer of the album. And he opened his speech by saying, all right, we know the first two rules of Sleep Token is you can't talk about Sleep Token. But, and we're all just like, and he said, obviously when you're going to mix and produce an album, the band will send you demos, and they could be entire songs, could be just like choruses, could be just riffs and things. When I got sent the songs or the recordings I got sent before Take Me Back to Eden, he's like, it was the most complete and most incredible selection of songs I've ever heard in my life. And like it's like that rare talent just comes in basically fully complete, and it's sort of their job to be like, how do I amplify this and make this something, exact? Mm-hmm. But it like the quality is from the very beginning in the songwriting, and that's why I think it goes as well as it has. This is nice. We've not talked about Sleep Token in ages. This is how this podcast started.
There's always been that. There've always been an outlier in the convoluted heavy music space. Like looking at reaction channels like us, like I remember Drew like just getting mind blown to The Offering when he first heard it. It's just like, whoa, who is this? Like, we check out so much music, but then Sleep Token was like that hidden gem in a way. And then shit, I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but
if I jump in, it might jog you, but like bucking trends and the rest, if you're saying, well, maybe there's like a TikTok brain generation thing, Sleep Token songs are long as hell. Yep. And you have to sit in it and wait for the payoffs and the lyrical things. Like it's interwoven in a slow, considered way. That's not really in keeping with what we're told will work in the world, and like keep your song short and punchy and a big breakdown and off you go. Like they kind of do their own thing.
Yeah, and I remember what I was saying was like even like Courtney LaPlante, Spencer from Periphery, I'm pretty sure too, Issues, they're all hyping up this band. Like everyone's like, whoa, like are you guys listening to Sleep Token? Are you paying attention to Sleep Token? Like everyone was like thinking the same thing. So it was inevitable that this band was going to blow up. There was something just different and special about this band. So yeah, I can't get enough of it, and I'm patiently waiting for new Sleep Token. In a way, I've loved their music so much that it's kind of hurt me from loving other bands in the space a little bit. Like I hate to say it, but I'm like,
I just can't quit you.
Well, yeah. I'm listening to a lot of like core music. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just another core band. Oh yeah, this is another core song. Just like it's all the same. But then after Sleep Token, I feel like a lot of the core bands are just not hitting me. But I will say, not to pivot too much because I want to hear what Drew has to say about Sleep Token, but Disembodied Tyrant and the Synestia EP was some of the most epic, intense music I've heard all year. So that's been something fun, but Sleep Token's a little bit more digestible. So I would listen to Sleep Token a lot more, but Disembodied Tyrant just fucking blows my mind too.
Yeah, man, I Steve, even just talking about new Sleep Token music, because I still feel like we're in the fallout of Taking Me Back to Eden. I don't think anyone anticipated how big the band was going to get after that record, because like Burr mentioned when I first checked out The Offering, one of the few videos that I'll still go back to just on my own channel and just watch, just to kind of like remember the moment when I first heard them, because it's just, The Offering to this day is still one of my favorite songs. And I just fucking love going back and like kind of I almost look at myself from the third person when I watch those videos. It's so fucking weird because it's so fun to hear myself talk about a band that at the time, I don't know how many monthly listeners they had, but I remember specifically, this is just so cringe to even think about, but like I went to the band's Instagram, like now obviously after what's transpired, like what's happened after the fact, you know, I shouldn't be too hard on myself, but just they had like 20,000 monthly listeners, which is like a relatively accessible number of followers to be able to like DM a band about. I've spoke to bands that have around that number of followers, so I'm like, I think it was after my reaction to the offering, and there wasn't many people reacting to them. I know Burb was on the scene. I don't know if Steve, you've been a Sleep Token fan for fucking years, but you'd probably already heard them before making the reactions anyway. But I remember I like sent them the link. I might be able to put it up here actually, but I sent them the link to my reaction, like, "Hey guys," like as if this is like a band that you can just talk to, like.
But you wouldn't know.
It's funny when you go back because I didn't understand the lore and stuff, but. Oh, I just cringe when I go. If I can find this fucking.
I want a screenshot of that. We can put it on the pod.
It's funny if you got a reply though, just like Vessel.
Yeah,
like, oh, thanks, bro.
Before they actually fucking. Oh my god! I thought I deleted it. I was like, Jesus, I cringed that hard before. Oh, do you know what? Hold on. Oh, I like introduce myself as an Irish YouTuber. Oh, this is.
Can you read it out? Can you read it out, please?
Let me read it first. Hold on. You guys talk about something else before I cringe my fucking brain out.
Do it live.
Okay, hold on. So this was from the 7th of October 2020. So almost.
Wow. Okay.
4? Is that 4 or 5? 4.
I mean, you know, it's over 2 years before Take Me Back to Eden.
Okay, hold on. This is so cringe. Let me just.
No, read it. Just read it.
I'm going to go through this line by line.
You need to react live to your own.
So I sent them. I sent them the link to my video, which was called "The Best Track I've Heard in 2020." Sleep Token, The Offering. First reaction to this band. Hey guys, I'm an Irish. Why did I say Irish? I'm an Irish YouTuber who makes music reactions / reviews. I just stumbled across The Offering and I am blown away. My subs have been begging me to cover your music for the longest time, and I'd love for you guys to check out my reaction. I think you'll really enjoy it. Pretty much just me losing my mind for the entirety of the track. Anyways, can't wait to check out more of your work. I've been recommended that Higher is the next on my list. Hope you guys will stay up to date with the journey. Okay, so it's not actually as bad as I thought it was.
That's lovely. It's a lovely message. Moment.
They still haven't seen it though, for fuck's sake, lads. Come on. But yeah, like, that's the kind of headspace that I was in at the time when I first heard this band. It was just like pure, like, I just want them to see how much impact their music has had on me. You know what I mean? That was all like, I'm just sending this. It wasn't like, hey guys, go follow me back or anything. It was just like, I want you guys to see what you guys have created, you know? So, yeah, man, I mean, more music from them, I'm down. But I still feel like the dust is still settling from Take Me Back to Eden after the fucking nuke that they set off, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it. We are in the fallout.
From the
nuke that was that album. The thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if Vessel is not feeling the pressure. But I feel the pressure on their behalf. Like when they come out with a new song, and I start a recording for a reaction, I'll be like, holy shit! Like, what if this is not as good? Like, I'm nervous. Like, how could it be better? It can't be. Can it? Like, I don't know.
I'm nervous too. I'm nervous that it's something that I'm probably not going to care for. I'm like, oof. It kind of happened with their last album too. I wasn't really loving it, and I'm like, damn. Especially after Sundowning, I love that record.
Yeah. Well, I bet they'll do that intentionally. Be like, okay, first song back's gonna be something kind of completely out of the blue and different. Like was it Fall For Me that was all vocoder voices? Or Do You Wish You'd Love Me? Just something that's coming like people are like, oh, is that a Sleep Token song? What do we do? You know, so that people reset their expectations, maybe.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Oh. Yeah, I kind of did the same thing with my initial reaction to Sleep Token. Was like, I already heard the EPs. This was before Sundowning, and then I was doing the couple reacts videos, and then I did Nazareth, and I had to show like my girlfriend at the time, like, here, listen to Nazareth, and then like she ended up crying on the video, right? Wow. And then like a lot of people were commenting like, wow, who is this band? And I had the hot take, like, this guy has like one of the best voices I've ever heard in like the heavy music space. And I remember like haters going like, oh, I can't believe you said that. I'm just like, I stand by it. This guy's voice is incredible.
Why would they be hating on that?
Oh, well, I guess people are just like, you know, it's music is subjective, right? So but then afterwards I did reactions to Sundowning, and then The Night Does Not Belong to God. I remember when I filmed a reaction to that, I'm just like, I put it out, I edited the video, blocked. I'm like, no. And then then the offering came out, and then when I did that one, I fortunately there was a lyric video that someone made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then for some reason that wasn't copyright blocked, and then that was like the first reaction that I could do like publicly for the new album. And then a lot of people like discovered Sleep Token through that, and it's funny because I discovered Sleep Token through Truant and his reaction to Jaws back in the day. So anyway, we should change our podcast to the Sleep Token Roundup.
From the Ronnie Radke Roundup.
Yeah, either or, man.
Well, those are the biggest ones. Well, listen, folks, it's been a good chat. I'm conscious there's going to be a Linkin Park video coming out or something in shortly, so we're going to go perhaps and have a look at that. But I've really enjoyed catching up with you, folks. It's been a while. It's been lots of stuff that's been happening. But hopefully we'll catch up again in a couple of weeks, and maybe there'll be some amazing new music as well. Do we know of anything that's coming up in the short term?
Yes, Spirit Box.
I
think tomorrow.
Oh, they're dropping something new?
Yeah, let me just it's like official. Like I think they even tweeted it. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Nice.
They Spirit Box officially put it out online. So yeah, I believe it is tomorrow that it's coming out.
I mean, next episode is going to be probably talking about the Linkin Park stuff as well. Like, I mean, what's happened? You know, we've spoken about it a lot here, so now we can cringe at ourselves talking about the new song when it's just some fucking, I don't know, new brand of beer or something. Yeah, just some random shit.
We'll see.
Lovely stuff. Well, thank you, folks. And if you enjoyed this, please do consider subscribing to the channel. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. Perhaps you can be the one that helps us tip over that edge. That'd be a really cool milestone for this. Hopefully you've enjoyed us chatting about the latest stuff that's been going on in the metal scene. There's been some things recently, which is very exciting. Perhaps we're on the slide now into the winter of absolute bounty of an incredible new metal music. And we'll be here to chat about that with you all as well. So let us know in the comments your hot takes and things we chat about today. See you in the next episode.
Peace.